I would say either the most important lesson or one of the most important lessons, and I was only able to learn this as I got down the road with experience, is to be grateful. And life can come at you fast. It has a tendency to make us take a lot of shit serious, which we should because it's life, but also around every corner, try and smile, try to have fun. I remember this particular shoot. It was a great shoot, and here's what I remember about the shoot is that I felt like, man, this is so cool, and there's milestones in a career, and I felt like being featured, not on the cover, but even being featured in People magazine was a big deal, and it is a big deal, especially for me back then. I was trying to come up. I was a pro wrestler, doing what I love to do in the squared circle, as we call it, in the world of pro wrestling, and I was featured in People, and I remember thinking, this is really cool, and I felt like there were moments in my life, milestones, where I felt like, hey, I'm gonna remember this, and this is pretty cool. Featured in People, so there it is, raised in the People's eyebrow. I didn't go out and buy a couple of copies. I went out and bought like hundreds of copies, because it's a cool thing, you know, and that stuff never gets old, man. The Sexiest Man Alive, this cover, you know, at the end of the day, you got to give the people what they want. This was awesome. Are you kidding me? It was just very, very cool. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's guys like, you always find this, like with guys who become Sexiest Man Alive, and they, you know, have that bestowment upon them, is they usually try and downplay it, like, oh, no, that's cool. I was like, no, don't give me that kind of shit. Like, oh, no, it's cool. It's awesome. And not only that, but it's what I've been saying since birth, that I am, in fact, the Sexiest Man Alive, and clearly very humble too, so I think it goes hand in hand. I will say this about this shoot. Here's why this shoot was memorable. Number one, it's People magazine, it's Sexiest Man Alive. It is an honor. I've been a lucky guy over the years to have done a few things, participated in a few things, and accomplished a few things that I'm fairly proud of. This is certainly one of them. And best part about this shoot, about becoming Sexiest Man Alive, is I got to do this in Hawaii. And I went back home, and it was just so cool. It's like a full circle moment, man, because if you think about it, this is the kind of stuff that I think about, is like, I'm there, we're on the beach, the mana, the spirit, aloha spirit, the island spirit, like I'm looking at our crew, and it's like an all local crew, so all Polynesian boys and girls are all working hard. And, you know, I was kicked off the island of Hawaii when we were evicted as a family, so, because we couldn't pay the rent. And I've told that story a whole bunch of times. So I think now, years later, to be able to go back to Hawaii and shoot Sexiest Man Alive, and I think that time when I got kicked off the island in Hawaii, that was like in the mid to late 80s. So I'm taking a shot here. Maybe George Clooney was, you know, Patrick Swayze, maybe they were Sexiest Man Alive, and then years later, this big, bald, brown, tattooed guy. My first match as a WWE superstar was in Madison Square Garden, and I felt like no one knew who I was. I was new, a rookie. I had not had a match in WWE, so the truth is, no one had seen me wrestle. I am making my debut in the most famous arena in the world. Pay-per-view, Survivor Series, the pressure's on. I was told that night, they pulled me aside about an hour before I was going out, and they said, hey kid, you're gonna win tonight. And Survivor Series, it's a group of men against each other, elimination style at that time it was. And I said, what do you mean? They said, you're gonna win the whole thing tonight. And I thought, don't f with me. If you are, I totally get it and I appreciate it, and they said, no, that's what we want. Sink or swim, it's the Garden, it's New York, and if you can pull this off, then we feel like you have a shot, and we have a shot. So that night I went out and I wrestled, and by the end of the match, before the match ended, there were 22,000 people in Madison Square Garden. They all started chanting my name, And in that moment, I was emotional in that moment, but you're in it, so you're focused. And I had about another 5 minutes left of the match. They all started chanting Rocky, and it was just so cool. And I just knew that my mom and dad, who were watching at home in Tampa, Florida, I knew that they were bawling. I just knew, and come to find out, they left me a message. They were crying as it was happening, and it was just a really special moment. And in that moment, I was just so grateful. And again, it happens in New York City. That's why I have just such a special place in my soul for New York City. I think about this kind of stuff all the time. Like, what would I tell my young self? I wouldn't tell myself everything's gonna be okay. Because what I would say, though, is keep doing what you're doing. Let your gut guide you. If it feels odd, if it feels strange, there's a reason why your gut is speaking to you. Make sure you listen to that voice. And that's gonna serve you for the rest of your life, your gut and your instinct. And I would also say to that kid years ago is take it easy. It's okay. Like I used to get angry a lot at the situation I was in, and I was frustrated and I didn't understand why. And I felt like the only thing that I could do was, oh, if I go to the gym, and this is at 13, 14, I feel like at least I have some accountability and I can change my life, because the men in my life, not in my life, but the men who I looked up to, they were all men who were physical guys who got done by going to the gym and taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of. So I had a lot of built up anger when I was younger, just out of frustration. So I would tell myself, take it easy, it's okay. You still go to the gym, it's all right, but you don't have to. Don't let that inform your decisions, which I did.
Oh, I forgot about this. Daddy, I'm gonna go get more makeup tools.
No, I don't need more makeup.
Yes, you
I think
do.
I'm good. As I've reached this point in my life where I'm a proud girl dad, I got little ones at home, I got an older one too as well. I always like to say we grew up together. I got a lot of good people in my life. And at this point in my life, I feel like the most important thing that I do is try to lead by example and try to influence as best as I possibly can, and try to be open and real with conversations that I have with people.